Perfect.
What's good, everybody? Today we have a special show. My name is Hamin Phillips.
And I'm Renee Back Santiago.
You're watching Raw Topic.
We have a special guest tonight with us. Her name is Kathy. She is the author of the upcoming book, The Lion and the Narcissist. And she'll be with us for the entire show today. Thank you, Kathy, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate this. We want to just make a few announcements before we talk about what is your definition of a soulmate. And next week, we're going to have a very sad and serious topic on Raw Topic. And it's going to be a topic that has completely segregated the Racine community. And next week, we're going to be talking to Monique West and Vivian Johnson, who have agreed to have an in-person interview with us at Raw Topic in regards to the fatal shootings and the police-involved shootings of their children, and Tyrese West and Dante Shannon. They will be with us live next week, and it's a very serious and sad topic, and we ask for respect during the time when we do interview them next week about a very sad and horrible incidents that have happened. And that will be next week on Saturday, August 3rd at 7 p.m. And we are blessed that they have agreed to come on for, I believe, either their first or second personal interview. We will be talking about the promised review of some movies that we saw over the past few weeks. And we saw 3 movies. We are going to be talking about what is your definition of a soulmate for the entire rest of the video, but we did promise that we were going to review a couple movies, and we saw Annabelle, and we saw Midsummer, and we saw Lion King. Mm-hmm. And so Hamin is going to tell us a little bit about what he thought about Annabelle. Now, Annabelle was rated by Ebert 2.5 out of 4. I only gave it a 1. I did not like Annabelle.
What?
I would never go see it.
Did you see it?
I would never even consider.
Right.
You don't like horror movies?
Right.
God.
I thought it was fake. I thought it was a demonic film. I didn't like it. I thought it was a bunch of people screaming all over the place.
Forget what she's talking about, you guys. Annabelle was the bomb. You got a little doll that looks creepy as I don't know what, running around, acting crazy, popping up here and there, scaring the heck out of everybody. I love that stuff. If you guys are a fan of The Conjuring, Annabelle is within that franchise. This movie is also part of The Conjuring, and I believe The Nun. They're all part of The Conjuring franchise.
Hi, T.
And I was not disappointed.
Hi, Jennifer.
I love creepy doll type stuff. Growing up, that was one of my biggest fears, was like getting dragged under the bed by a doll because of the poltergeist.
They're here.
So, I gotta say, you guys, I love Annabelle. So,
I didn't like Annabelle.
2.5 stars for me.
I gave it a 1. I thought it was a corny horror film with people running around screaming and chasing after a doll.
You'll be running around screaming too if a little doll is coming crazy with a knife at you. You ain't gonna run around screaming?
No, I didn't like it. I fell asleep for part of the movie. I thought it was so boring and ridiculous.
You fell asleep?
I fell asleep.
Unbelievable.
So, Midsummer was rated a 7.7 out of a 10 scale rating with multiple internet sites. We did see it. It was about an American couple who went to Sweden for a summer, and it turned into a complete nightmare. What did you think of Midsummer?
You guys, Midsummer was strange. I mean, it was one of those really, it's almost as if like you're high watching it. It's got that weird, it's just that weird feeling. Whoa, what happened? This is
the rom-com.
Oh, jeez. I was going to say, this girl is down in the drink.
No, not true.
Popping bottles up in here. But,
no.
But Midsummer was strange, but it was creepy as I don't know what. It was very creepy.
Hi, Holly.
There were some scenes in there that you probably won't get out of your head for a while. Midsummer, I would give it a 5 stars, I think.
I gave Midsummer probably a 3. I thought it was kind of corny too. It was
You are crazy.
the only thing that kept me watching about Midsummer was the scenery. Because I'm like, am I ever going to go to Sweden?
That's a good point.
You know? Did anyone else see Midsummer out there?
Let us know if you guys seen Midsummer or Annabelle, and what are your thoughts on that?
It was kind of creepy. Ebert gave it a thumbs up. Third movie we saw was The Lion King. And
3D.
We
Oh,
had
look at
some.
Becky.
Hi,
Becky's
Becky. We had some interesting movie things that happened the last couple of weeks. So we went to try to see The Lion King.
Yeah.
And
Total failure, by the way.
Hamin brought his daughter. I brought my granddaughter. We were excited. We got popcorn. It was another movie situation, you guys. And we sat down. I don't know if I told you this story, Kathy.
No.
We sat down with the 3D, glasses on.
Ready to go.
Ready to go. We're all good. So we start watching. We get about halfway through the movie. I'm loving the movie, by the way. I love Lion King.
Yes.
Beyonce's voice. What was she? Nala?
I don't know, actually.
And Mufasa taking over everything. I loved the whole film. So we got to the half of the part of the movie, and it's really quiet in there because it's just getting to the best part. All the little cubs are on top of these mountains, and we're just enjoying every bit of it. And then my granddaughter starts screaming. She gets her hand somehow with the remote chairs going up and down.
I've seen that.
The dream chairs.
I'm not going to lie to you. You guys.
Well, wait. Let me tell them what happened. So my granddaughter unfortunately got stuck in the chair at Marcus Theater.
Yes.
And her hand got caught. And in the middle of the quiet theater, she started screaming.
Bloody Mary.
Bloody murder. Just,
I thought it was a 3D. I'm like, man, this is some good 3D.
So people are running. They're like, oh my God, a kid is stuck in the chair. Is she okay? So we're trying to remove her hand from the chair. And we ended up in the emergency room that night.
Yep, so we did not actually get to finish Lion King, so it would be fair.
Spoiler.
No, we didn't get to see the end of Lion King.
Yeah, it was.
We ended up in the emergency room instead. But what's interesting, Kathy, being in healthcare, you'll find this interesting. When we took her to the ER because we thought maybe her hand was broke, they said actually children have died in those seats, getting caught in those seats at Marcus Theater. So anyway, she was okay. Nothing ended up being wrong, just a bruise. But we didn't see the other half of Lion King. Did anyone see Lion King out there?
And did anybody else get stuck? You guys, be careful. I mean, these new Dream Lounger seats are the bomb. I mean, you get in there, you hit the remote, you just recline. You're like, man, this is great. But if you get your hand stuck in there or any body part, it is going to be drama. Don't do it. Be careful. People have died in those seats.
I guess, yeah. I gotta check into that.
Can you imagine?
Someone told me that, but
Can you imagine sitting in a seat,
I feel
somebody
like we
died?
heard it if somebody died.
yeah,
It's crazy.
I know. I think so too. But Lion King was great. I gave it a 9 out of 10. What did you give it with the parts that we did?
It's not really fair to give them a review since I didn't get to see the whole thing. But from what I did see,
She said it ends. Becky said it ends just like a cartoon.
you know what? I'm not going to even take Becky's review. Becky, get up out of this review. I can't let you do that. Not to Lion King. I'm going to have to go
Becky
ahead.
saw the Lion King.
Okay, but I'm gonna give it.
Becky saw the whole Lion King. We didn't see the whole Lion King.
Yeah, true that. But from what I've seen, I think I would have gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I mean, the graphics was dope. They stuck with the storyline. It looked like the actors and everybody was on point. So had I watched the whole thing, I'm pretty sure it would have got a 10. So
Yeah. Last week we promised we would pick a quote of the week every week when someone comments below, like you're doing today. We will pick a quote and we will talk about it the next week. So last week, Jenny Miller Peters said, "It all takes time, but so worth taking small steps to get where you want to be." And I think it applies with pretty much anything in life. Everything takes time.
right.
We all, go forward with baby steps, and we take time, and things can end up where we want them to be if we take the time to do it. So thank you, Johnny.
She
We
is
really
the
appreciate
comment
that.
winner.
She's
for
the
this
comment winner, yeah, of last week's episode. And
Nice comment. I like that. Was that a quote? What is that? A quote?
yeah, it was her quote.
Okay.
It was her specific quote.
She's coined that.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
So we gotta give her,
Yeah, you can coin that now, Jenny.
we gotta coin that term.
Yeah. Copyrighted.
So our main topic of tonight, and we're so glad that Kathy is here tonight with us. We really appreciate it. And she is the author of the upcoming book, like I said, The Lion and the Narcissist, correct?
Correct.
And we're going to be talking about soulmates. And while Hamin and I were doing a lot of research this week, talking about what is your definition of a soulmate, we came across a lot of different things, a lot of different research, and a lot of different opinions. And what do you think about this?
You asking me?
Yeah. I'm asking you.
First of all, a soulmate, I think everybody has so many different opinions of a soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's incredible what a soulmate can mean to so many different people. One of my biggest things was, could you have more than one soulmate, you know? And I can't wait to hear your opinion on that. Like, is it possible?
Everybody knows I'm very opinionated, so.
Yeah. So, to me, I think a soulmate is like a best friend, but more, you know? What's your thoughts?
Well, I came across a quote today, which was very much in line with my definition of a soulmate, and it was by Kenny Loggins.
Really?
I grew up Greek, so I have no idea. I had to text a friend who's Kenny Loggins.
Really?
But yeah, I grew up in a very Greek household. So.
That's neat.
But
That's so interesting.
I didn't realize how much of his music was about soulmate love and twin flame love and that. But
I love him.
He had a very powerful quote that a soulmate is that one person whose love is so powerful it motivates you to meet your own soul, and to do the emotional work of self-discovery and awakening. And you said you weren't going to say but I just did the first time.
My mom's out there critiquing this, and last week she said I said too many
Renee
times.
said about 30 times.
I told myself I wasn't going to say it at all tonight, and we're going to continue to improve every episode.
And I said
It's all good, you guys. We are live. We can make these mistakes. Just going live.
Isn't this raw topic?
It's raw topic.
Raw topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're raw. We're not edited.
But again, I did it. A soulmate matches your purpose in life, matches your motivation, has to match your passion and complement you internally.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people feel that they're the right person for them, because they are right for you. They get you. But the important thing is that they are aligned with your soul. And that's very much why I did quite a bit of soul searching on soulmates while I was healing from my narcissistic relationship. And I chimed in on your episode last week because I think we have to be very careful.
Yeah, she
Now,
scolded us.
I
guys.
did.
And this is one of the reasons
that.
I wanted her with, because
I did.
I just respect your opinion so much.
This is why we brought her on, because I love the comments she made on that video.
It
And I'm like,
was.
man, we have got to get her
But the
in.
comment you said was so interesting.
She just had so much to say. I said, we
I
got to bring
remember
her
what
in.
I said. Sometimes I just
You said be careful with that topic, Renee.
I do. You have to be very careful with soulmates because, and I don't want to get too much into narcissism, but one thing that a narcissist does is mirrors who you are. And your soulmate
Like mimics you.
mirrors who you are. But a
Okay.
narcissist is doing that skillfully. It's calculated, it's manipulative. So a lot of times that people, women, men, get involved in narcissistic relationships, they feel they've met their soulmate. And it's because they're mimicking everything you do. So it's tactful and manipulative.
It's like a mirror?
They mirror. Well, I talk about that in my book, that
So-
they're mirroring your likes, your dislikes,
Wow.
your passion, your purpose.
They're trying to be just like you.
Right, and that there actually is a term
It's
which
creepy.
I haven't used in my book, but I came across it, that they're shapeshifters.
Wow.
And they can metamorphosize into who every person they're with, so they can win you over. But I'm Christian. I'm very,
Absolutely.
you guys know me, I'm very, very strong, have very strong Christian values. So I was really torn between three things. And as a nurse, especially, I went to a Franciscan a Christian college and Marquette.
Right, and I went to Mount Mary.
Okay, so we all have Christian values in our education. But as a nurse, we've always been taught to look at the person, their mind, their body, and soul. We're taught as a nurse that you know things empirically. Some things we just know because the research tells us this insulin is going to peak in 15 minutes. That's how we know to make sure that
Exactly.
has food.
Absolutely.
So when I look at any topic, especially topics that are this controversial, I do look at it from an empirical perspective. And the science behind soulmates, actually, I would like to pose a couple questions. Do you think, how many Americans do you think believe in soulmates?
We had.
We
have the number.
Well,
What is
let's see. I wonder if our numbers match.
Oh, you got them?
I
What
wrote
did
it
you
down. I was curious
73%,
about this.
right?
Yeah, very interesting.
73%.
Our research showed 73% of Americans believe in soulmates.
That's right. We did our homework.
Do you believe in soulmates?
Well, Becky actually said something that kind of on the vein of what I was saying. She said, I read the thought of having only one in the world is unromantic. What if they die?
Right. You brought that up last week. Well, what if your soulmate dies?
Right.
Can you find another soulmate?
We haven't gotten to that topic, but I agree that you have multiple soulmates.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but you can have what is called a friendship soulmate. So some people come into your life as friends and they have a purpose in your life. They're kind of that person that always gets you, that you can be on the phone with for hours. And I'm very interested, I keep saying they know you better than you know yourself. And we all have those friends. I have a friend actually that went to school with me in nursing school, and she now works at MSOE. She's the clinical coordinator, and it's that she always comes in. Sometimes your life gets busy and you neglect friendships, but she always comes back and we can pick up where we left off, and she knows me better than I know myself. So you can have friendship soulmates.
Yes. Friendship soulmates, family soulmates.
Which family soulmates?
They say your kids can be your
Your kids can be your soulmates.
because of their genes.
Your parents, yeah.
So genetically connected. Like I can look at my daughter and I know what she's thinking.
What about twins? Like
I have twins.
Yeah.
He's a twin, are you?
Well, no. Well, my sister has twins, boys,
Oh,
and they are so connected.
that's
And
interesting.
so couldn't that be a soulmate?
I don't know if the twins necessarily are, but
No, you don't think so?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't know the answer to that one.
Okay.
But a soulmate, you can have strangers be soulmates.
Really?
Right? And I've had so many. And I think remember, your soulmate is meant to come into your life when you need them the most.
Right.
So you can have that person that is sitting on the airplane next to you, and they know exactly what to tell you, give you exactly what you need at that time in your life. And that can be a stranger.
I just got goosebumps because I thought about a time on my very first flight on the airplane, and I was sat next to a pastor who held my hand the entire trip, and I'll never forget him because it was my first plane trip, and I was shaking. I was so scared, and that was just meant to be.
Wow, so what, you think it could be like a temporary soulmate?
Right, and your temporary soulmate?
Yes,
What do you think
their
of that?
purpose is to come in. Every soulmate is sent here to do they have a purpose. They're sent to challenge you, to make yourself a better person, to live your life to the fullest, because God has created us to be our best.
Mhm.
So they are sent to challenge you and for self-development. Your soulmate is sent to you to help you
Mhm.
when you need help, and mostly for your soul to transcend to a higher vibrational level. So a soulmate is there to make you a better person, which is why a narcissist can never be your soulmate.
Now, my cousin had mentioned, Kira, that she believed also that her dog was a twin flame. And can people have animals as
Now, wait a minute.
connecting
What exactly
connections
is
and
a twin
soulmates?
flame?
They talked about twin flame when we did the research about soulmates too. Is a twin flame different than a soulmate?
Yeah, very. A twin flame is the belief, the understanding is that your energy, your soul was so overflowing with cosmic energy that it at some point split into two souls. So this is your other half. And you'll meet your twin, not everybody meets their twin flame during their lifetime. I'm not sure how I believe in multiple lives, but I'm starting to believe that we do have multiple lives, that this is just not one life. But throughout multiple lives, you could meet your soulmate. You have to be aligned. If your twin flame is not ready and has not done the personal growth, you will not be together.
Right.
And I actually heard songs, and I have just discovered this artist named Dean Lewis. Do you guys listen to him?
Oh yeah, I love Dean Lewis.
I've never
I heard him
You
on the
never heard
radio.
Dean Lewis?
No.
Oh, it brought me to tears because
Really?
he has this song
I
called
know you
Hamin.
love buddy.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Wait,
song.
song
Sing it again.
I just can't even remember. But it's something about
Sing the song.
his girlfriend cheated on him, and his guys would basically tell him you have to let her go.
Yes, waves.
Yes, yes, yes.
Comes and goes.
Yes, that's another
Yes,
one.
waves.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
But he
But
also,
Dean, where is he? He's from. I think he's Irish.
I don't know if he's got
Australian.
something, but he has
He has a hit song out.
he has a song called Half a Man. And it talks about one important thing about meeting your twin flame. You cannot love another person unless you have fully developed yourself.
Oh, that is so true. That is so true. I read so much about that. Because if you're not developed yourself, the universe knows this, and it's like holding your soulmate somewhere else
Exactly.
until you're who you need to be.
So,
Right.
exactly. Your soulmate was sent to challenge you, is sent to awaken your soul, and I actually have experienced this with my daughters as well.
Mm.
But sent at different times in parts of your life so that you can learn and transcend. And obviously we all have a choice how we're going to take the lessons. But the one soulmate you guys were talking about, that romantic soulmate, could be something called a karmic relationship.
Oh.
And those are extremely painful soulmate relationships. And I had one, I have obviously not met my twin flame, but you can have a false flame, which will be a narcissist. A false flame will feel like a twin flame, like they are the one for you, but it is a false flame.
Listen up, you guys.
And
This is good
usually
stuff.
your twin flame will come in after you've experienced a false flame, which is very near complete spiritual destruction. It's the dark twin.
Wow.
There's a light twin and the dark twin. So usually when you've experienced a narcissistic relationship or extreme,
Which we have.
right, it's a sign that you're meant to meet your twins. And we're entering a time in the universe where more twin flames are meeting each other. We're meant to actually, as human beings, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Lipton, but I'm getting a degree in integrative medicine and I'm studying Dr. Lipton. And he talks about that we were not meant to communicate using language. Language limits us. That we're meant to speak telepathically. And that's why we're coming into this time that's very much more spiritual time and a time where more twin flames will be reunited. But those karmic relationships are those people that you feel this intense love for, but their purpose is to teach you a lesson about love and about pain. And usually they end, unfortunately, they're karmic, they have a purpose to teach you a lesson.
I've been through this.
They will end, and usually the ending is very, very painful for you. If you do
We
not,
both had those very
I had one
painful.
right before my narcissist,
Yeah.
actually.
We had very painful,
Breakups.
past situations the past 2 years, both of us have. So this was a topic my mom actually brought up because, she was like, well, what do you, so many people have different opinions on soulmates.
Right.
That would be such an interesting topic because you always hear people saying, well, that's my soulmate. but then sometimes they'll say it for 3 or 4 different partners. You know, well, that's my soulmate. Now, I want to ask both of your opinions of this. So here's a couple things when I was researching soulmates that it was saying. A soulmate will have mutual respect, unconditional love. It could be a sister, brother, cousin. Doesn't necessarily mean romance is involved. You have a powerful bond with that person. The person could ideally be suited to another as a close friend, romantic partner, someone who just gets you. They get you. You can look at them and they get you. Now, also, I mean, when we were doing the research on soulmates, we found that they said that men believe in soulmates more than women.
Yes, I think it's
So why is that?
74%.
Can you explain that?
Shocked.
I was shocked too. Men believe in soulmates more than women. Now, let's see. T says, not sure I believe in soulmates. You know, it's interesting, T, because I was telling Hamin when we were doing this research, and I don't know, Kathy, if I told you or not, but I said, you know, in the past, about 10 years ago, I would say I believed in soulmates. Now, I would say I don't. So I've changed in the past 10 years.
Are you sure it's, well, the research always says that over 45, it's like a 10% drop in the population that does not believe in soulmates.
At over 45?
The younger, the more they believe, it drops 10% over the age of 45.
Is that because of our experiences? Because we've had possibly unsuccessful relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then we start to
Yeah.
lose trust in, is that a soulmate? Is that person meant for me? Because now I've had a couple partners in my life, let's just say, and none of them were okay for me, and they turned out to be bad news. So they couldn't have been soulmates. So now as I get older, I'm like,
So
how
do
can
you-
soulmate be true?
So do you think, like, when we get older, and after we've lived our life partner experiences, do you think that, like, that we stop believing in all that romantic stuff that we believed when we were teenagers? Like all the, oh, there's a soulmate out there, I'm gonna be so in love. You know, I think as you get older and you experience the hardships of love and the hurt, I think that all goes away. You know, I think you start
You mean
to,
like the,
like, just the thought of having a soulmate or the thought of having that perfect someone.
That's a mistake in soulmates, though. It's not a perfect person. No perfect. We are all flawed, and your soulmate is meant to help you grow. So there's a difference between people that believe in soulmates and destiny believers. And there's a
right,
difference
I saw
between
the destiny believers and the growth believers.
growth believers. People
Right.
that believe that every relationship is about growth and compromise and giving and taking and working through problems. Unfortunately, people that accept the soulmate definition as they're supposed to be this perfect person for me don't want to do the work. So the moment there's tension in the relationship,
So true.
they bail, they run. But
Wow.
it takes a very courageous person to face their weaknesses and to do the work.
That's true, because you have to work on it.
Right.
So I think what you were talking about, if I'm correct, Kathy, is the difference between the destiny believer and the growth believer.
Yes.
So what do you believe?
I believe they're in soulmates, but I don't believe that there is one person meant for you. I believe God created all of us and created us to help one another. And the Bible, it does not give you a very crystal clear, concrete definition of soulmates. But if you look in the book of Genesis 2:7 says, the Lord formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed life into his nostrils, the breath of life, and he became a living being. If you look in Genesis and you look at the creation of animals, God created male and female animals at the same time. He created a male cow and a female cow, and the purpose was sex and procreation.
Right.
But he did not create man like this. He created man first, and then he sat and he thought about it, and he said it's not good for man to be alone.
It's not.
I think that's why
We've
men
been
don't-
reading more and more about that. It's not really good
I
for
relate.
someone to be alone,
I
actually.
feel like as a man, I think women are stronger that way. a woman can be alone. You know, I've talked to women who said they've been single for 3 years, 4 years, waiting on that special guy. And I'm like, I can't imagine a guy saying they've been single for 4 years. Like, I feel like a guy needs that companionship. They need that woman to be there on their team to, you know, help them just get through. So I feel like that is such a true statement as far as men, you know, getting a little bit more lonely and needing that companionship more than a woman. I feel like
As a man gets older, he needs more of a soul.
I think it's just older, younger, whatever. I feel like a man at any point just needs that someone, and I feel like a woman is stronger in that way because they know how to be by themselves and they can accept that and they can hold out and wait for something that they know they want versus a guy. You know, guys can be a little thirsty these days. Sorry, fellas, but you guys are a little thirsty out here. You know what I'm saying?
We're in a very different society. You know, we live in a whole different society, so it's very different. And this is the key.
Keep those up. Keep those comments up.
This
I want
is
some
very
good comments here.
There's a difference between a soulmate that is meant for you, and I will get into that. But if you look at Genesis and if you are a believer, God said he will make him a helper to complement him, which means your soulmate will always have the capacity to help you. Your soulmate will always complement you and help you. What we create by engaging in superficial relationships, because we give in to the flesh, is we create soul ties,
Right.
which can be very, very dangerous
And destructive.
with
They can
the wrong
destroy us.
person.
Because we're, like Hamin was saying, that thirst is there. That man wants that woman, or that woman wants that man, and it's so, you're just so needy.
We get thirsty out here in these streets. You know what I
And God created man and breathed life into him, giving him intellect, will, and emotions, which animals do not have.
mean?
Right.
Will, emotions, and intellect.
Wow.
So you have to really ask yourself, does your relationship help you transcend your soul? If the answer is no, it's not your soulmate.
Exactly. That is so, I really believe that.
Yeah.
That was good.
Does your soulmate stir your intellect? No, that's not your soulmate.
Right.
Does your partner challenge you and make you an emotionally healthier person?
Right.
No.
Because if they're constantly putting you down, and then they're not challenging you to be a better person,
Right.
how could they possibly be a soulmate?
They're not. Of course,
Right.
You can and look at the Bible. God created that as a helper, as a complement, not to diminish you, but to push you to your purpose.
Okay, wait.
I see a lot of people like competing with their
Oh, that's true.
spouse or their significant other. I want to be better than him. I want to be better than her.
How are you jealous
So
of
it's a
your spouse?
competing relationship
I've seen
instead
that.
of a partnership.
Right.
You know, let's go to the comments real quick and
We do
show.
want to finish your
Let's show some love in the comments and try to see if we can answer some questions. Spring Violet has said, "Can your soulmate be toxic? That you should stay away from them." What do you think about that?
Your soulmate will never be toxic. They are made to help you become a better person. If they are toxic to you, it's not meant for you. It could be a false claim. They're not meant to you. So you should be rid of anybody that is toxic to you, that diminishes your self-esteem, that diminishes your self-worth. A soulmate would give you that space to grow, would challenge you. A soulmate does not mean that there won't be arguments or tension in a relationship.
Right.
Absolutely not. We are made to work through things, and we're flawed, we're human. So, but your soulmate gives you that skill set to give you insight within yourself. So if they're toxic and diminish your self-esteem, that's not your soulmate. Their purpose is to empower you towards your purpose.
Right.
So they would never be jealous of your success, try to move you away from your purpose. They would only encourage you and push you, and you
Like, let's go, let's keep moving,
Right.
those kinds of things.
right.
No.
So, no.
Now, what do you think about this? Can you scroll up to the, okay, so T. Marie Garcia said, "I believe in love and learning to adjust your ways to work with another's way. When you are older seeking love, you're desperate to not die alone. And we often overlook flaws to have that companionship. I think that is so true. I really do. I mean, I think it, you know, even myself, as I've been single for the past year, it's like sometimes I feel like, you know, of course none of us want to die alone. So what do we do? You know?
Do you settle?
Never. You
No.
will not
So
meet your
it's-
true soulmate, your twin flame, until you have fully evolved and you self-love. You cannot love another woman if you're half a man. How can you love another person if you don't love yourself? You need to take that time to be alone and learn to love yourself, to get to the point that you know your values, you know what you stand for, you know what's important to you, you know your purpose, and you're content in that. That's when your romantic soulmate, your twin flame will come into your life. Otherwise, you are on this wheel that keeps spinning, jumping from one karmic relationship to the next, until you learn the lesson. Because if you don't learn the lesson out of that painful relationship, you will seek another relationship that resembles that.
Right, and I've seen so many people ask me over the past year. I mean, I was telling you about this a couple weeks ago. I was saying, so many people have asked me, well, you know, why are you still single? Why are you still single? And things like that. And I think...
Well, wait, that actually, Jason Garcia said, any of you three found your soulmate?
Oh, that's a really good question, Jason. Really good question. I would say no, I have not.
Wow.
Well, maybe recently, but not in the past. I haven't found a soulmate in the past. Maybe recently. The more, and when you said that last part, the more and more I am firm on my morals and my values, and I'm okay with who I am, the more I attract men of the same caliber. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. Because you're manifesting what you feel you deserve. If you don't feel you deserve something, you can't manifest that.
Right, because someone said last week, though, that they felt like they may have had a soulmate, but they weren't comfortable with them themselves, and that is what caused probably the divorce.
Well, you can still have a soulmate.
Excuse me.
It's not a twin flame. A soulmate has an expiration date.
Mhm.
Yeah, they can come in and out of your life to
Wow.
teach you a lesson.
That's
I
good.
definitely met my soulmate. And a soulmate, you will always be connected with them spiritually, but you will let them go romantically. You okay?
Are you okay?
Sorry, people. We are having technical difficulties. Somebody is lit up in the house right now.
You are not lit. You're kidding.
Just kidding.
He's kidding. You're not lit.
If you don't know who you are, you're busy looking for that, what you lack in yourself in another relationship. You're desperately seeking what you lack in another person, and you will never find your true other half.
Right.
You will find soulmates, absolutely. People that are meant to come into your life and teach you a lesson. You need to take the lesson out of it.
Take the lesson.
So many people don't.
See,
They go from man to man to man. woman
T.
to
Marie actually, you know, she said when you're older, you can see the BS more.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So
that's probably where the diminished comes into place. Like, oh, I don't believe in soulmates, because as we get older and older, we see, hey, that's bullshit. You know, so.
Well, as you get older, you develop, hopefully, the wisdom of self-discovery, and you can discern what's good for you. You're sharp enough to seek someone with the same values, the same purpose in life. When we're younger, you're like, oh my God, I'm 35 and I'm not married.
Right. Why is it so? I hear girls in their 30s saying that lately. You know, they're like, I'm 30 years old, I'm not married, I don't have a kid, I don't have a house.
Right.
So now you have to have a house, a kid, and a marriage in order to be whole?
Right. No.
That makes no sense.
Right. You don't qualify for a good man.
Mhm.
You don't qualify for a good woman until you know your value.
now here's a comment that I like from Spring Violet. She says, narcissists pick out kind people to manipulate. What do you think about that? Is that true? Do they pick out nice?
This is a whole interesting topic, but narcissists are attracted to empathic people, whether you believe an empath is an intuitive person. An empath is just somebody who cares, who feels your pain. A narcissist cannot. They are attracted to you like a wounded animal. They can pick you out in a crowd.
Yes.
Really?
And
So they kind of
they smell you.
And wait, before you finish, those of you who just joined, Kathy is an author of an upcoming book in August
What's the name of
called
that book
The
again?
Lion and the Narcissist.
Yes.
And we're very happy to have her here.
By the
because-
way, you guys, we did include the link to her website in the description of this video. So if you guys go into the description of this video, you can click on her website. What's the website?
www.thelionandthenarcissist.com.
So you were saying a narcissist can pick you out of the crowd.
like a
They
wounded animal.
smell you
But
like
here's
a
the
wounded
really
animal.
bad thing. If you are an empath without strong boundaries, you will also be attracted to them because you will feel sorry for them. You will confuse sympathy with love. And you will want to fix them, and you will think you can fix them, but you can never fix an empty soul. Never.
That's so true.
Never. And that's very hard, even for me as the victim of narcissistic abuse, to accept that, because we want to believe as empathic people that there's some good in everybody, and it's very, very hard to accept that these people are soul-sucking vampires. You like the vampire movies.
Yeah, you love the vampire movie.
I like anything that's gonna scare me. Anytime I have to turn all the lights on in the house,
Never.
I like it.
You want to be scared? No.
It's fun to be
I don't
scared.
laugh. Who wants to be scared?
So you don't like when's the last time you saw a scary movie?
Never, ever,
Never.
ever. When there used to be blockbuster
Yeah.
places, we used to go get a movie. I fainted twice walking by the horror. I saw a picture of the video of the
Get out of here.
I was like, ooh, but I fainted really easily.
I don't like
Have you
horror.
heard of the show The Walking Dead? Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it, yeah.
It's a great
No.
show. The content is
No.
amazing. You would watch it?
No, I don't know what the scary. I'm trying to think what the
Zombies. There's
No.
zombies.
No.
No, can't
No.
do it.
Have you watched that stuff, Hamin?
Yes. Like
No.
The Walking Dead is amazing. The content. Like it puts you in this environment of doomsday and how you would survive. And I think that's amazing because I think they are on point with the way people would act and how life would be if we were in a doomsday situation.
That's probably, yeah.
Accurate.
So do you?
I don't watch it.
So do you don't watch? Do you
No.
think you don't watch it because of more of like the laws of attraction? Like
I don't know. I think
what you just don't want to feed into negativity?
I'm not sure. It just scares the bejeebies out of
You
me.
just
I
don't
don't
like
know.
it.
But I think so. Like one of my daughters is highly empathic, and if she even sees a commercial, like we do that Netflix or Hulu, and I don't know why, but they did have the ad to Annabelle, and she was very disturbed with like 2-3 seconds.
I was disturbed
She was
too.
highly disturbed. And empathic people pick up on that energy, so maybe that's why. I'm not sure, but I cannot handle horror movies at all. But I was extremely intrigued. I'm extremely intrigued by psychoanalytical, like
Yes.
Murderous Minds,
Mhm.
Ted Bundy. I think because my ex was into
Did you see
stuff
the
with
Netflix show
somebody
the
else.
Ted Bundy tapes?
The which one?
Did you see on Netflix they have the Ted Bundy tapes?
That was very
good.
educational,
Yeah.
very amazing.
He
The
was a
psycho-
psychopath,
Oh,
right?
he is.
Would you call him a narcissist?
He is a classic narcissist, Machiavellian psychopath.
No, I think Tupac said back up.
That's called the dark triad
Uh-huh.
of personality disorders. The narcissist believing they're superior and grandiose to everybody. The Machiavellianism, which is a ruthless person. And the psychopathy, the ability to lie and exploit and kill people.
So that's what Ted Bundy was.
Without even thinking
You had
twice
to
about
break
it.
him down.
Oh.
So you guys, if you watch on Netflix the Ted Bundy tapes, right, you will get a good idea of a narcissist.
Oh
you
yes, that's
think?
huge.
'Cause he was a true form of a narcissist.
He is a true covert narcissist, and we'll talk about that in our other episode. But there's
Right.
overt narcissists that are just berating, and you can see them coming. They don't scare me because you can see them coming a mile away. But a covert narcissist like Ted Bundy is the most dangerous kind of narcissist. They're sweet. They play victim. If you look at his first victim, he faked that his arm was broken in a library parking lot and asked women to help him, and he ultimately kidnapped them, raped them, killed them. Yeah, so they play this sweet, humble. They have this fake persona, but underneath,
So they're like
evil.
a sheep in wolf clothing.
Exactly.
So I want to ask you both a question, and I'm curious about your answer with this.
Fire away.
So with the research I was doing on soulmates all week, I saw a variety of opinions, some that said you have to have chemistry, and some that said you don't. Do you have to have chemistry with a soulmate? Do you want to go first?
I'm not giving you
I'm looking
the
at her because she seems to know a lot more about this. I would think yes. I mean, a soulmate. When you think that your soulmate is a soulmate because of the chemistry,
But if you're a growth believer,
now what the heck
if
is
you
that?
believe in growth believer soulmates, you believe that you can find someone that you can build with, grow with. It's almost like a business approach to a partner. I can build with them. I can grow with them. I probably will be with them a long time. Could I build with this person? Can we be the best people we can be together? So when you're thinking about the growth believer soulmates, you would think there may not be chemistry because you're looking at it like a business type deal. Can this person and I do great things together? Can we motivate each other to pray more, to make a business together, to do positive things in the community together? And is there necessarily chemistry with that all the time?
Wow. Now that is a lot of deepness right there. Do you understand one word she just said?
I would guess, and I might be wrong, that you're asking, is there sexual chemistry with your soulmate?
Do you always have to have chemistry?
Well, T. Marie Garcia said, yes, you need chemistry. She said you need to connect on many levels.
She's absolutely right. So a soulmate, well, I don't know if you are familiar with chakras of the
Yes,
body,
absolutely.
but your soulmate,
Really?
that's why I work green.
I also have a Reiki
Oh,
certification.
wait, what's the green about?
I
School
work
us on
green
that.
because if a soulmate will operate from your heart chakra, and your heart chakra is green. It's symbolized by green. So if you
Okay.
and it's where you experience divine love. And if your heart chakra is blocked, you cannot experience that chemistry, that bond. That is it, T. Marie or Tia Marie?
Yeah, T. Marie Garcia.
Can you open that chakra?
Yes.
How can you open that chakra?
Well, mine was blocked for a long time.
Block? Like, what does that mean?
Like you couldn't
Chakras are blocked.
receive or give a lot of
You
love,
can't
right?
receive- for me, I couldn't receive
What
love.
causes that?
Hurt, trauma from your childhood, just any kind of hurtful relationships.
How do you
How
unblock?
do you unblock that chakra?
One thing is to just go out and connect with your creator, with God. And what I did was it was summer when I realized this. So I embraced green. I would stand barefoot in the grass and take walks in the park and just try to breathe in green and kind of reground myself with the universe. Also, your heart chakra connects with your creator. So immersing yourself in the word, living self-love, practicing self-love, and positive affirmations. Affirmations are huge in opening your chakra, changing your mindset into saying, I am worthy of love. I am love.
So self-worth.
Self-worth. You have to increase your self-worth.
T. Marie said, she said damage is real and it truly puts a lock on thoughts and feelings.
It does, because you just feel like, I know a lot of times I have felt in the past, like, I don't want anything to do with any kind of love relationship. I just don't.
Of course,
Because of the fear and the things that I have been through, and I can't possibly trust another soul on this planet who could potentially hurt me again.
Wow.
Now, do you believe you have to have chemistry?
Well, that's probably like the number one question that people ask pastors and things, well, how can we not have sex till we are married?
Right.
Don't I have to make sure that sex is good?
Right.
But
If you love each other, it will be good after marriage.
right. So any relationship that has a sexual imbalance, that is operating from a lower chakra, which narcissists, psychopaths, toxic people operate from lower chakras, from sacral chakras, not their heart chakra and not their crown chakra. They operate at very low. The sex can be phenomenal with,
Yes.
with a narcissist.
Fellas, yes.
The sex can be phenomenal with a narcissist, somebody who's desperate, but if it causes you to forfeit that soulmate connection, that connecting on an intellectual level, on a spiritual level, run away. So that's the most common question is, well, the passion is so high, doesn't that mean we have chemistry? No, sexual appeal is different than connecting, and the sex, connecting with someone at your heart chakra is the most amazing kind of love you will ever experience. So
Right,
you need
because
to connect with that person, and they say that soulmate relationships that are based on an internal connection, not one of the flesh and external, are become passionate. So that we're confusing soul ties, which are destructive, with soulmates. Yeah, and I know you
Right,
guys.
so if someone hasn't been married, or isn't married, and, maybe they're not connecting sexually because they're not married.
Right, it could be twofold. Like, you absolutely have to have chemistry, but chemistry doesn't mean the sex is great.
Right.
Chemistry means, haven't you ever been with a person? This has happened to me where I've met somebody superficially and they're like, wow, the most attractive man I've ever seen. And then you get talking to them
And
a
they're not the
couple
smartest
weeks and you're
man
like,
you know.
You're like,
wow, they're
Like,
really
this guy's
losing
dumb.
their appeal. They're really not attractive.
right,
Wow.
exactly.
And then you can meet someone that is average. And as you're getting to know them,
They become more
they become
attractive.
sexy and attractive.
Because
And
of
there's
their-
this chemistry, and it's because you are connecting.
Because it's not superficial, right?
You're connecting internally.
Mm.
So that's why it is important to not engage in soul ties. And also because if you engage in a soul tie with an evil person, your soul has now intertwined with that person and you are connected. And it's, this from your experience, it's very hard to disconnect once you have developed a soul tie. It's,
Yes.
Yes.
oh, is it hard?
It's
Man,
so hard to
it's like-
disconnect.
it's almost-
Yes.
It's that such a connection, you almost feel like you're disconnected when you're not connected.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you're throwing off balance,
Here's another thing about your soulmate, though, which I think is very key. Listening to a lot of my friends talk about their dating experiences, the other person, your soulmate, will be an equal pursuit of you. So if you are in any relationship where you are doing anything more, that is not your soulmate, because your soulmate will equally pursue you. They're calling the same amount. They're thinking about you at the same time. I don't care how successful, how much money they have, that man will drop everything to spend time with you,
Right.
to get to know you, because they need this connection.
That's so
Anybody
true.
that you have to chase is not your soulmate.
I wonder, do you think you could repeat that? Because I think there's a lot of people that need to hear that.
Okay.
There has to be an equal chase. There has to be
Equal
equal pursuit
pursuit.
and equal chase.
Absolutely.
Actually, T. Marie Garcia said something I like. She said, sexual connection definitely needs to be there. The need to want to see that person and hug and kiss that person is a must. People need to believe back in the old school butterfly.
Absolutely.
Why is it that you guys think the butterflies goes away when you get older?
Well,
I
because of
noticed-
our past hurts and our traumas.
Like,
We have to find a way to cleanse ourselves from all the past stuff and open ourselves fully. Like we were watching today on YouTube, that couple she said she really had to open herself fully and not think about all the things that were done to her in the past. Because everything that was done to her in the past, she's bringing in that new relationship and she's like, is he using me? Is he doing this? Is he doing that? And that can tear up what you're already in.
revert back to what you know, what you've been through.
Right.
But I
Get
think-
back on that karmic wheel because you have not learned the lesson. So you will stay on that wheel of fortune until you learn the lesson, and then God spits you off.
Yes,
So you
and
will stay on it till you learn the lesson. And then in retrospect, when you finally get off, you were like, was I ever stupid?
Right.
Did I ever waste my time? What was wrong with me?
yeah.
And I don't need
I see.
that.
I've heard a lot of females say, they put up with guys cheating and playing these games, and they just kind of go through the motions. And then when they finally snap out of this trance, they're like, man, I can't believe I've sat there so long, for so many years.
And sometimes people stay in those type of narcissistic,
What is that trance?
evil marriages or
also,
unions or whatever for years because they don't want to get a divorce or they don't want to leave the person, or
There's a lot of reasons
You
people
know,
don't.
financial reasons is
Yeah.
number one.
Number one, it's a trauma bond. The abuse actually affects your brain, your amygdala, which you know from nursing school is your fight or flight response.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are stressed out, you release cortisol
Mm-hmm.
because you're in a fight or flight response. So when they hurt you, you're in fight or flight. You're low. Like, let's just say you are low. We could compare it like a drug, and I've never even been drunk. I'm embarrassed to say, but
Wow, that's sad. We'll get you drunk
But-
by the end of the show.
these toxic relationships will get you on a high, and your dopamine level increases when you do anything happy. Your brain is flooded with these happy hormones, and then they hurt you, and you bottom out. Cortisol, fight or flight, and then they come back and you're just so happy, and before you know it, you are physiologically, your brain is bonded with them, and it is going through an addiction. You should see an addiction specialist.
For sure, it's a cycle of abuse a lot of times.
There's a physical trauma bond. Very interesting, when I was ending my toxic relationship, this is why no contact with them is so important. I came across there's two famous narcissist experts, but they are narcissists, and I really can't listen to them. They trigger me. Like, now I hear the voice of the narcissist and I go into complete panic. But I had actually done this and not realized it, but he wrote a book called Exorcism, Purging the Narcissist from Your Mind, Heart, and Soul. So you have to go in the same order that they manipulated you, because they manipulated your mind first, your heart, and then got into your soul. You have to purge yourself of this soul tie of this person.
So that's why a lot of people don't leave their offender.
Right. And
They don't leave their abuser
because they're scared. They're
And-
intimidated, they're scared.
Mhm.
I wanted to close something that you mentioned, you brought it up, about the pursuit. Your pursuit in a soulmate or relationship will always be the same. That's those adorable couples that are 50 and 100 years, been together till they're like, she's just as beautiful as the day I met her.
Mm-hmm.
That pursuit never changes.
Right,
It's
right.
undying love. So I scanned that, and I'm not used to this online format, but I had scanned and saw a comment like that. But absolutely, your soulmate tie, the pursuit never ends. It doesn't die because of a traumatic, life event or stress. Because you've aged, the sexes obviously diminishes when you get older for different reasons, but the pursuit is always the same, that yearning to be with your other half.
Right.
So the
My
pursuit
daughter even
is
said that should equal your drive in every way and never give up when times get tough. And that is very true, kind of what you were saying, Kathy.
And Jeanette says that relationships do not revolve around sex in my eyes.
Oh, she's absolutely right. That's a smart girl. Absolutely. I mean,
We're going to be going live again next Saturday, August 3rd at 7 o'clock. Next Saturday, August 3rd at 7 o'clock. We hope to see you there. We thank you all for coming tonight. And again, our goal is to just bring Racine community back together. And
Remember, you guys, if you can't keep it real,
then at least come raw.
raw topic. We'll see you next
thanks
time.
for having me.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
We appreciate you, and we look forward to the domestic violence episode.
Yes, if you guys want to see Catherine again, make sure to tune in for that episode. She's going to talk more about narcissism and domestic abuse. It's going to be great. Don't forget her website is also in that description, you guys. We will see you guys later. Peace. Yeah, drop that peace sign on.
Okay.